Which least pick hero would you consider meta? Which hero would you classify as the worst non-realistically do you think will be the future of ML? What do you think about gameplay channels? Why don't you make a video with your wife? We are waiting. Hello my friends! Welcome to the 5th Q&A session. Today we just sit here together again and I basically just answer some of your questions that you asked under my community tab post. So just sit back, have a cup of tea or coffee or whatever you like to drink and let's have a little chat together. Also, by the way, the gameplay you will see is just me doing like a little solo to mythic challenge again. In case you wonder why some of my enemies are very unexperienced, let's say it like this. The first question is from Kana that is not really a question, it's about my beautiful Ruby image. Oh god, ML Guide in 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜 did it again. Actually, 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜 has nothing to do with it. It's more my creepy humor, I would say, that I reused that image again and again. Now the first real question, and it's from Gabriel Jeremy Ortega. Which least pick hero would you consider meta if given the spotlight in the competitive scene? As many of you were already saying in the comments under this comment, I would actually say 𝐼𝐼𝐬𝐼𝐼 is one of the heroes who is not picked very often, but surprisingly for that he's very least picked, performs most of the time pretty well when I see someone playing with him. Whenever I see someone who is a 𝐼𝐼𝐬𝐼𝐼 main in my team, like having 500 games or more with it, it's basically guaranteed that that guy will do pretty good. So I think 𝐼𝐼𝐬𝐼𝐼 is really a hero who's not picked that often, but performs really well. So if you want to have a hero who's not that often picked and who's very good, try him out. The next question is from Sharif Ibrahim. Which hero would you classify as the worst non-meta in each lane? That's a question where I can pretty much just lose, because whichever hero I name now, the people who actually play that hero will hate me, so please don't do that. Also, I will not say the heroes for each lane, because I could also say like playing most of the marksmen as tank, for example, as roamer. That doesn't work, obviously. So I'm just going to say for each role who is the worst right now. So for tanks, I think right now the worst are Grog and Bellaric. I mean, Moonton is already doing something about it because on the advanced server they both already got a buff. So Moonton actually agrees on that with me. But if you look at all the other tanks, I have the feeling like these two are at the moment the ones that are the worst out of them. Like, if you could choose any other tank apart from these two, I would actually prefer that. Although I'm not saying like they're totally useless. No hero is actually like totally useless. Every hero have their strength. It's just in the most cases they are just better options than these heroes that I'm going to mention now. For the supports, some people will hate me for that, I have Carmilla and Faramis. When you have the other support heroes who are available, there are just very few cases where I would say that these two heroes really make sense to play, and not picking another support hero or a tank, for example. As fighters, I also have the two, I think, most least picked heroes right now, and this is Terisla and Hilda. They are pretty good at holding their lane. Like, if you play 1v1 against a Terisla or a Hilda, you don't have the easiest time against them. But other than that, they don't really have like that much to offer compared to the other fighters that are in the game. If I remember right, Hilda also received a buff on the advanced server, so I would be glad to play a strong Hilda again, because Hilda is actually the very first hero that I ever played in Mobile Legends. I think, apart maybe from the tutorial, but if I remember correctly, Hilda was the first one I had a real match with. For the marksman, I actually have Hanabi. There are like the typical marksman heroes that everybody hates, like Mia, Leslie, Layla, and Hanabi. But out of these four, I would actually say that Hanabi is the worst, because with Mia and Layla, you have it at least like when they reach the late game, when they reach the full build, they become very strong. Like basically as Layla you just have to position yourself right, that you're not getting ambushed by the enemy's assassin, and you can basically just two-shot every enemy away except from the tank maybe. And with Mia it's pretty much the same, where you can basically instant delete the whole enemy's team with her. And Leslie actually as well, because when she have a full build with her crit damage, her shots really hurt. But with Hanabi it's the problem that she's just too slow with that. Like, she have a stun obviously, an AoE stun actually, but just damage wise she's not on the level from the other three. And yeah, I don't know, just out of the four she's my least favorite. As mage I have Vexana, because I saw Vexana players who were very good, who could play her very well, but I would also say, like, if that player will choose another mage who's similar, like let's say Eudora for example, that player would have been even better. So I don't really see a reason why you would pick Vexana over heroes like, or let's say like Vale, for example. Why would you pick Vexana over Vale? That would make no sense, at least in my mind. So right now I think Vexana is the worst mage you can pick. And for the assassins, I was actually really struggling to pick like a worst hero, because I think none of the assassins is like really worst. Like, there's no assassin where I would say they are really performing bad right now. You can basically use every assassin, and if you're good, it's not about the hero that you will lose the game because there's a better choice. I was thinking about saying Saber, because once you hit the late game, you're going to struggle a lot with Saber, because you can still pick up that one target, like let's say the enemy has a Layla with full build, then Saber is actually perfect, because this Layla you can still pick up, but usually it ends up like you kill one and then you're just dying. But in the end I decided to go for Benedetta. Not because she's bad, but I just have the feeling from the effort it takes to really become good with her, to the result what you get out of her, this is basically the worst trait you have right now. So yeah, I hope my explanation explained it, why I picked the heroes, so please don't hate me. The next question is a Patreon question. If any of you don't know, I actually have a Patreon, so if you want, you can support me and my work. It is from Twisted J. Will tank meta ever come back to MLBB? It actually will. Like, there were a lot of updates for the tanks and for the items as well. I haven't actually read what's happening to the items, but there's a lot happening. So it seems like for the new season that tank meta is actually coming back, which I personally think I will like. I'm not 100% sure yet if I will really like it, but yeah, I think I will like it. We'll see. The next question is from MOBA Chain. What realistically do you think will be the future of ML? Will it go big or go home globally? If not, what do you suggest Moonton should do to make the game globally known, to make the game a globally known game esports? First of all, I would say Mobile Legends is already a pretty big game, at least in the mobile market. I think one problem it has is that in the Western world, like let's say in Europe or North America, there's still many people who consider mobile games as not real games. And also the competition is more higher than in other places, because usually, like let's say here in Germany for example, like basically everyone has their PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, everyone have their PC where they can play games on, and where they actually played the games for like the past 20-30 years on. When I think about everyone, when I told someone that I'm playing Mobile Legends or even have a YouTube channel about Mobile Legends, here in Germany this game isn't really known. Although it's very big, if I'm telling someone something about LoL or Dota for example, then basically everyone knows what that is. When I'm telling them something about Mobile Legends, everyone is like, oh, what is this game? Never heard of it. Which is a shame, because I don't think Mobile Legends really have to hide from Dota or League of Legends anymore. And to your question, what Moonton should do to make the game globally known? Well, if I would know that, then I can start working as a head producer at Moonton, basically, if I can give you the correct answer to that. I think one way would be to work together with content creators who are big in America, for example, or in Europe. There are many YouTubers who generally play games, and many games got popular because of this YouTubers. Just take Minecraft as an example. Minecraft blew up because of so many YouTubers back in the days were making videos about it. And this could be also a way to make it more globally known. Like especially the MOBA channels who are there, where many out there who are very big. This could be a way to make Mobile Legends more known and actually tell the people like, this is not just a small little shitty mobile game that is basically a copy of League of Legends, but actually its own fully fledged game. Which in my opinion is more fun because it is not this... I don't know, how long does a LoL match takes? It takes like at least 30 minutes, sometimes over an hour. That doesn't sound really nice to me. Like, I actually like that the games in Mobile Legends only take like usually something between 10 to maximum 20 minutes. Like, you don't have it really often that a game goes over the mark of 20 minutes, which I personally really enjoy. And yeah, making it more known due to their esport broadcast could be also a way, because many people enjoy esport. Although I'm personally not one of them, but that's also a way to get people to play the game, I think. The next question is from Carrie. Do you read the story from the mastery code or whatever, or do you just focus on the MOBA game? If yes, which hero has the best story? I was reading some things about the heroes I was playing. Like, I know, for example, that one was once a friend with 𝐉𝐨𝐢𝐬𝐜 or something. I know the backstory from Badang, how he got his iron arms basically, but I never like spent that much time reading the backstory of all the heroes. Maybe because just, you know, when I turn on Mobile Legends, I'm not like, okay, let's read the story of every hero. I'm more like, I'm opening the game because now I actually want to play the game, you know? So, it would maybe make sense to make a series like, I think both League of Legends and Dota have on Netflix right now. I think about both there is a series right now going on. That would be also something that I would personally watch when something like this would be there from Mobile Legends. I think there's also like one cartoony thing, but I just saw some pictures of it and I thought like, not what I expected. Like I would rather have like a series in the way they make their cinematic trailers. That would be awesome. The next question is from Heaven's Play. Do you think heroes like Ling needs a bit more damage and sustainability? I don't think a hero need a bit more damage and sustainability, because that would basically they will be able to take more damage and also deal more damage. And this would basically just, when you would buff both on one hero, you will basically make that hero OP. Rather than that, I would be more like either you give a hero more damage or more sustainability, but then you reduce the damage a little bit. Although for a hero like Ling, so basically assassins, I don't think assassins should have a lot of sustainability, because that's basically their playstyle. Their playstyle is they are assassins. Like they sneak around in the bush and they assassinate the enemy. So what is an assassin doing? They are killing their target very fast. So the damage must be huge, otherwise they're not real assassins anymore. So I wouldn't give an assassin a lot of sustainability actually, because then they would basically become fighters instead of assassins. So, and when you talk about Ling himself, I don't think he needs a buff right now. I think he's pretty much alright how he is right now. He's not OP like he was at certain points, but he's also not completely destroyed like he was already once. So I think right now when you look at the pick rates, he's doing pretty alright. The next question is from Ichigo Tenchu YouTube. Do you think Alufeed is a good pick? Quite funny, today I will still record the Alucard guide, which I already received. If you didn't know, there will be a hero guide for every hero in the game that I was doing with you guys basically. And the Alucard guide will be the first guide that will come out. And the person who made the guide actually explained it quite well, why Alucard is actually not a bad pick if you use him right. The problem is not the hero itself, I think. Since Alucard is one of the first heroes many players play, many unexperienced players pick him. This is, I think, the same problem with heroes like Mia or Layla. If they are being used in the right way, they can be effective, but just many inexperienced players play these heroes, and that's why they're so much hated. So yeah, if you know what you're doing with him and how you're supposed to play him, he can be a good pick. Any hero can be a good pick if you really know how to play him. The next question is again from my Patreon, and it's from NemoXo. Which role is better to play in a match? Tank or support? Some examples, please. This question is so simple that it's also very, very difficult to answer. It's always depending on the team composition what you should play, and you cannot really generalize saying like in this situation it's better to play a tank and in this situation it's better to play a support, because also support heroes have many differences. Like Lolita is obviously a complete different hero than Estes, for example. While Estes is focusing on healing, Lolita is more of a support tank, because that's why she has the role as well. So you cannot really say like what is better. Is it better to play a tank or support? It's not only depending on the role, it's also depending on the hero itself. So let's just say when you're a good combination, for example, when you have a Roger in the team, it's a good situation to pick Angela, for example, because if you have a fat Roger together with an Angela, these two are becoming basically unstoppable. Like this is like one of the cases where you can really say like a fat Roger together with an Angela, I forgot her name for a second, can basically really just 1v5 or 2v5 in that case the entire enemy team, and they can really do much about it. But is Roger now a good time to pick Faramis, who's also a support? Not really. So you cannot really say is it better to pick a tank or a support. It's really about the team composition. And if you're asking, well, what is a good team composition? To answer this question, this would need a whole video, not even a whole video, it would need much more than that. Because since you have over 100 heroes and you can have 5 heroes in the team, you have like thousands of different teams or ways how to build a team, and giving you an example for each, it would require to give an example for each hero basically, and for each matchup, and this is just like way too much to do, like for a single person. Like I was already thinking like, what can you do to make a video about team composition, but I haven't found the right format yet. Maybe this will be another thing for a community project. The next question is from Interesting. 1-1 has been revamped in the advanced server about only hitting 3 weaknesses instead of 4, in exchange for ultimate to be only 2 seconds. Any thoughts on that? If so, will it be a great improvement in your opinion? And will you have a revamped guide for her? That's basically more than one question, but since it's all about 1-1, I let it slide, let's say like that. So the first thing is about the weaknesses. I'm personally not a big fan of that, because I spend a lot of time playing with 1-1. I'm pretty sure you're seeing a 1-1 gameplay right now as well. I don't think it's too difficult to hit the 4 weaknesses if you know how you're doing it. The higher rank you are, the more difficult it becomes, obviously. Like, I think the game you're watching right now is probably in Epic or lower Legend rank, where it's pretty easy to get you to activate your ult, because the tanks are just basically engaging into you. So there it's very, very easy to activate your ult. When you play already in higher mythic ranks, it's becoming more difficult because people are actually aware how you're activating your ultimate. So there you have it more difficult. But it's not impossible to activate your ult there. And it's also like what makes it charming to play that hero. Like, you always have the goal in mind, you want to activate your ult. And once you really made it to activate your ult and you can unleash it, this is like really a satisfying moment. Like, you activated your ult, now I'm also, before I was always saying I like to use Aegis more. Now that I'm trying her out more and more often with Inspire, I actually changed my mind a bit, that I'm saying like Inspire is actually the better spell for her. And yeah, when you activate her ult and also activate Inspire, it's like when there are the enemies around, when there are 5 enemies around, it's almost a guaranteed savage for you. So, and lowering the difficulty by only hitting 3 weaknesses, I think, I haven't tried it out in advanced server honestly, but I think it will be too easy. Like, if I think about how fast sometimes I could activate my ult, like I had a situation where 𝐷 was ambushing me, and before he could even hit his ultimate on me, I already had my ult activated. It was a little bit lucky that I could get it so fast. It's not like I can say like whenever 𝐷 is ambushing me, I can activate my ult before he hits me. That's definitely not the case. But it happened already. So, and when I think about only hitting 3 weaknesses, I think that's way too easy. And her ultimate is instead of 2.5 seconds, only 2 seconds long. But if I think about when you use Inspire with it, the enemy hero is already quite low. I don't think like this is such a big nerf that the ultimate is only half a second shorter. That's not such a big nerf in exchange to that you can activate the ult basically so much easier now. And also the damage will be increased actually, because after every weakness that you hit, the damage is increased directly by 15% instead of the 40% when you hit all weaknesses. So her damage is basically increased. It's easier to activate her ult, and in exchange only the duration is a little bit lowered. I think it might make her too OP actually. I mean, I could say like that's perfect for me because I'm a 1-1 main, but first of all she will be then in the ban section non-stop, what means I can apply her anymore, and that really sucks. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just really not a big fan of that change. I think actually, you know, they were slightly increasing her potential in the early game. They already had a little buff on her, which made it easier. They also nerfed heroes like Beatrix, who are really a pain in the ass to play against as a 1-1. I think she could be slightly stronger still in the early game to have a better chance against the heroes like Brody, Clint and Beatrix. Like she could be a little bit stronger still in the early game. But I really don't think that they need to improve anything of her mid to late game. Because I think once you reached your power spike with her, and if you manage to get fed, it's become really difficult to stop you as a 1-1. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that revamp, as you can maybe tell. And about if there will be a revamp guide about her, yeah, there will be definitely, because as I said, there will be a guide for every hero, and because of that, obviously also for the revamped 1-1, or for the revamped Akai, for example, as well. I was just talking with the guy who's making the Akai guide, that he will wait with the guide because of the revamp that is going to happen. Like, it makes no sense to make an Akai guide now when there's a revamp going to happen. So yeah, that will definitely happen. The next question is from Rico Firmancia, I guess. Do you think MLBB can eventually balance the heroes? After seeing them buff several underrated heroes in advance, it gives me hope. There will never be like the perfect balance. That will never happen. When you look at the changes that they are making, it's never like they make any, unless they're revamping a hero, they make any radical changes. Like, it's always just a little bit improvement, or a little bit or a little nerf, basically, what they make on heroes, because it's rarely happened that they shoot completely over the top with a hero. Or, okay, there's some heroes who are underperforming and they just leave them be underperforming, but you rarely have like only that one hero who's like completely OP. This you rarely have right now. And if you have it, then they are just always on the top of the ban section, basically. I think the balance right now is already pretty alright. There are obviously things that need to be improved always, but after every improvement there will be a new thing that Moonton haven't thought of, because making over 100 heroes like completely equal to one another, I think it's basically impossible. And you also have to think like players always try to get the advantage out of the current balance what they have. Especially when you think about the pro players. Just think about it. There was once a time where the Digi feeding strategy was a valid strategy. So, and this is something that Moonton basically cannot predict. And yeah, as I said, I think actually the balance is pretty alright. Like, of course, there's always heroes who are performing better than others. But all the heroes in combination with all the items, there will be always some exploits that Moonton haven't thought of. And they let heroes become stronger than they actually intended, or being weaker than they actually intended. Like, they were working, for example, on Badang, that he's becoming stronger, and he's still one of the least picked heroes out of all the heroes. I was actually thinking even including him into the worst heroes right now, because I was playing Badang in, I think this was still an epic match where I was playing Badang, and I actually had quite a hard time with him because he wasn't that strong anymore. I think he was even worse than he was before the changes happened on him. So yeah, to give you a short answer, I think the balance is already pretty alright, so let's hope it only becomes better from now on. Oh my god, I just saw I'm already 36 minutes into the recording and I'm just talking way too much about each question. The good thing is actually to talk a little bit off topic. I have a new program which is called TimeBolt, which is pretty cool because it can basically automatically cut your videos. Like when I leave a pause, then it will create automatically a jump cut, what you should have seen now. So instead of that I really have to edit the whole video through and make all the cuts, I just put the raw video file, what I'm recording right now, into that program, and it basically automatically cuts it for me, so that you don't have like endless pauses where I'm reading something or drinking my coffee, for example, what I think you haven't seen or what you shouldn't have seen. The next question is from Orochi. I think you pronounce it like this. What do you think about gameplay channels? Like channels that make weird all caps titles while posting basically their gameplays, cut out their death countdowns, and they just have no copyright music, it's background music. That makes you feel like you're going to rip your ears out if you hear one more time. Do you wish to see more unique and innovative content creators in Mobile Legends? First of all, I wouldn't criticize anyone for what they're doing on YouTube. Like, YouTube is a free platform where anyone can do what they want. And if people just want to do exactly what you described, like just putting gameplay videos, put some copyright free music in it that I'm personally also not a fan of, and just upload this to YouTube, that's totally fine. And if there are people who enjoy watching this content, I'm also totally fine with that. Like, everyone can do what they want to do. But to your second question, would you like to see more unique and innovative content? This is something that I would really like to see. Like, right now when I think about Mobile Legends videos, there are of course the streamers, there are the people who, what you just say, make the gameplay videos. There are also the people who make like the WTF moments or montage videos, for example. And then there are the people like me who create Mobile Legends guides. Other than that, and they're also like the news type of channels. This is also existing. Other than that, there's not really much existing in the Mobile Legends landscape. At least nothing I'm aware of. If there's something I'm missing, please tell me in the comments. I would really love to see some more innovative content regarding Mobile Legends. In general, the whole Mobile Legends content creator community is a little bit strange. Like, I never saw any content creators really do like collaborations with each other. I think the only thing I saw was 𝐷 working together with Gosu General, I think. I think they had a video together or some videos together. And I think like way back in the time also Bitoski was playing with 𝐷. Was it not like this? Like over 3 years ago? Like this were some collaborations that were happening. But other than that, I haven't seen like a lot of collaborations happening. And there's also the Mobile Legends content creator group, basically. I don't even remember how they're actually called. But there's also almost no collaborations happening, and yeah, it just seems like also from the content creators, themselves, it's not like the big interest there to make collaborations. And why do I know that? Because I basically already were contacting some of them but didn't get any responses. Also, that's why my idea, for example, for the community guide, because I just think there should be a lot more collaborations happening in the Mobile Legends content creator scene. And with the community project, this was my idea of having the spotlight for some of you who are also creating content. And although it's not like a classic collaboration, I think this is a very good way to promote a channel and gain a few more viewers. I'm not just saying subscribers, but people who actually care about your content and actually have new regular viewers. The next question is from 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐜𝐿. I'm sorry, by the way, if I'm butchering. Butchering is something else, but yeah, if I'm just pronouncing all the names completely wrong. Do you think the matchmaking in Classic is based on the players' ranks? And if not, should Moontown change it? Because for me, Classic matches are more intense than ranked matches, which is really frustrating since I play Classic for casual gameplay. I think the problem is basically that... So first of all, I think the matchmaking is not actually different from the matchmaking in ranking. The only difference is that there are some players who actually test out heroes who they never played before. They didn't even try them out in training mode. They just have a trial card and they try that hero out. They never played it before. They didn't read the skills. They basically don't know anything about that hero. And then you also have other players, then most likely for you in the enemy team, who have like their 3000 fanny matches, for example, and just fly around to get 30 kills in that one match because they are playing against a bunch of inexperienced players with that hero that they're playing. And I think this is something that leads to very, very unfair matches where you have an enemy team that plays their main heroes versus your teams that is just testing out heroes. And this is the big problem. Like, I don't know if you should maybe make a match mode where you say you're only allowed to play heroes that have, where you have 50 matches with maximum. Like, you know, that you can guarantee that everyone is really trying out their hero, you know? I think that would be something that would be very, very nice to train heroes in a fair environment instead of that you have to play against what I just said, a Fanny who's just boosting their win rate of any player, basically. The next question is from 𝐷𝐿𝐿𝐲. Why don't you make a video with your wife? We are waiting. Wifey? Come here. Come here. Are we making a video together? You're not on the camera. Say yes or no. Will we make a video together?
Maybe.
She said maybe if you didn't hear it, so maybe I will do a little Q&A with her. If you guys are interested about that, let me know in the comments. Then maybe I can convince her to do a little wifey Q&A. The next question is from me like cheese. Yellow. So I want your opinion. What are the best heroes who can easily make a comeback in the late game? I find it hard to carry my team since usually I adjust to the team's composition. For that I wrote down already some heroes or some types of heroes that you should make, that you should play. So first, heroes which are very good to make comebacks in the late games are heroes who build up stacks. Because they basically can become stronger and stronger. So usually every hero like they have their full build and then basically they're not becoming stronger. Heroes who are gaining stacks like Aldous or Sicilian, for example, they're not stopping to become stronger once they have their full build. They're just becoming more and more and more stronger because of their stacks. So these are really heroes with who you can make easily comebacks. Like if you ever played against a Sicilian after the match is over 20 minutes long, you know how much that Sicilian will hurt. Especially when you play like a squishy hero like a marksman, for example. You almost have to build a magic defensive item because at this point a Sicilian who really farmed their stacks can almost just one-shot you away. So these are really heroes that I can recommend you to use if you search for a hero that can make a comeback in the late game. Other heroes are, for example, marksmen, like especially like the marksman we were talking about earlier, like Layla, Mia, or Leslie, for example. When you are able to reach a full build with them, and you know how to position yourself, that you're not the one who's standing in front of the tank basically and is just getting picked up by the enemy. If you know how to position yourself in a way that the enemy can't reach you that easily, then these are the heroes who are very good to make a comeback. Like I had it already many times where I had a match where we beat the enemy team around the park, but we were not able to finish it. And then the enemy had a Layla in the team, and that Layla was so strong that you basically couldn't kill her anymore, because as soon as you just got near to her, it was basically pew 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 and you're dead. So with most marksmen, they're also very good for making a comeback in the late game. That's why you also don't need to give up again when you really have a Layla who's maybe down like 1 to 9. You know, she's just feeding all the time. Don't give up yet. If you manage that this Layla reach the full build, unless that player is not building a completely weird build, that Layla will become very strong and most likely will decide the last gank that will decide the match. So you just have to make sure to stall the game long enough that this Layla can actually reach or gain the full build, that this Layla actually becomes that strong. So the next question is from Hassan Menan. There are 2 questions. Now I use that time if there's still even anyone watching. Thank you, by the way, when you're sticking that long into the video, because the video is way too long, I think. From now on for the Q&As, I wanted to make it that there's only one question because I wanted to answer the questions in more detail like I'm doing right now and also include more guys or more of you guys. I cannot answer like 300 questions obviously, and also sometimes it's just so many questions are also just like the same questions. That's why obviously then I only choose one, but yeah, I wanted to include as many as I could, so yeah, just that you also know for the future. I make an exception here because that one had 8 upvotes, so it seems like people or some of you were caring about that. I wonder if you will create a team for M4 as a coach for any team, as you have experience to do that. I don't have really experience to be like a coach. A coach is doing much more than I do. Like, I'm creating guides from my knowledge, basically what I have, but I wouldn't say like that I'm suited to be a coach, because a coach is really familiar with every little single detail of the game, and I wouldn't claim for myself that I know every single detail of the game. I think I know a lot, especially because of my work, what I'm doing for my channel. I learned many things about Mobile Legends, but I wouldn't consider myself as knowledgeable that I would say I could be the coach for a team. I don't think I have that much knowledge about the game. And also that will be obviously time consuming, and as many of you know, if there's one thing missing in my life, it's time. Having a family, having a full-time job is pretty time consuming, as you may guess. And the second, I hope you will make a new video about jungle example. If my team don't help and Franco, enemy and their mage are harassing me. I'm kidding the question. It's basically when the enemy is invading your jungle, what can you do? The problem is, when you are a jungler on level 1 and the enemy's tank like a Franco and the mage is harassing you and is invading you, and your team is just completely ignoring you, it is very difficult to do something against that. One thing you can do is, for example, when there's an enemy Franco in the team, I usually always start with a red buff, because most Francos will go first to the blue buff because most people start with the blue buff. So that's why I'm doing the complete opposite by going to the red buff directly, hiding the red buff in the bush and taking it down there. That requires for the Franco that he first have to run to the red buff and also hook the buff and not hook me accidentally. With this, most of the time before the Franco is even coming to the red buff, I'm already done with the buff. And then I'm already on level 2, so then you have a better fighting chance against an invading Franco, for example. Otherwise, if your team is just completely not helping you and the enemy is very good at invading you, try to get the small camps, try to farm whatever you can, you know? Maybe farm the minions from your teammates. I know I said many times don't do that, but maybe this is the only way how your teammates also realize, hey, maybe I should help that guy. Like, you have to do something and you have to farm somewhat. You cannot just stay in the base and do nothing, because that's not helping anyone. But yeah, if you really face a situation where they are invading you and no one is really helping you, it is just very difficult to do something against that. The next question is from Aldwin Fuenzalida? My goodness. Will you make a tier list for the new patch? Since there are some changes going to happen, I'm thinking about making a tier list again. Because the last tier list video is already pretty long ago, so I think that would be a good thing to do another tier list video, because I think many things changed since I made the last tier list video, so yeah, most likely. Next question from 𝐾𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐿. What to do in a 1v3 situation when you're the side laner and want to defend the lane? As I mentioned in my Be a Perfect Marksman video already, basically your goal is to defend it, just. So that means you focus on the minions. No, first you stay under your turret. When there's a chance that the enemy is coming to you, or you see that the enemy is coming to you to gank, you stay under your turret. You wait that the enemy is clearing the minion wave so that the minions are coming to your turret. What you're doing then is you try to focus on the minions. You're not trying to fight the enemy, because that will not work. You try to focus on the minions and you try to dodge the skills from the enemy. This is basically the only thing that you can do. if they tower dive, the only thing you can then pretty much do is, try to dodge the skills, or if you're really good and your hero have stun abilities, make sure that the one who's getting focused by the turret is being stunned, because even when you turret dive as a tank, you lose pretty much HP very fast, and since when you're on the lane, still you're most likely still in the early game, so the tank cannot take that much damage as well. So you just really have to play it smart and play it defensively, and just try that the enemy cannot push your tower. That's basically your only goal in that situation. It shouldn't be your goal like to kill all three of them, because that will almost never work. It also shouldn't be your goal to kill one of them. The only goal you should have in mind is you're defending your turret now. That's the only thing you should think about. And with this mindset, you can survive many 1v3 situations. When you have a 1v4 situation though, then pretty much most of the time the only thing you can do is run and spam the request help button. Next, we have 𝐉𝐨𝐢𝐬𝐧. When will you play with your fans or do a community event where we can play with you? I was thinking about ways like doing community events, we were thinking on my Discord server about making tournaments for the Discord members, but you always have the problem. The community is coming from all over the world. Most of you are coming from Asia, but I also have many viewers from America or from Europe, or basically from everywhere in the world. And since I'm from Europe myself, there are only very few people I could actually play with without there's the problem of lag. I tried already to play with a VPN on the Asian server, but still, the lag is just too much that you can really say I could say I can play rank with any of you who is not from Europe. And you also have to think it's not like there's only 100 people of you who are watching my videos. This is like thousands of people who watch my videos, and it's basically the thing of if I play with one, then everyone wants it, and on the other hand, it would be also unfair to do that. So, and this is all basically the reasons why I can't really play with many people from my community, because first of my location, and secondly because there are just too many people who would want to play together with me. And now the last question from Trish Sanjay. Do you think of making another type of content on UTech, like vlogging, roasting, reacting, other than Mobile Legends and ML guides? Or you gonna stick with it? I was talking about it already many times. I'm still planning to make another YouTube channel where I'm talking about how to grow on YouTube actually, because I created my channel last year in April, so that channel is not even 1 year old yet. And I still grew to almost 70,000 subscribers and have multiple videos who reached far over 100,000 views. This is not by accident that this happened. Once I basically found out how YouTube works, how the recommendation system works, that my content is actually shown to people. YouTube is actually not really that difficult. You also still have to make good videos, obviously. But getting views on your videos is not that hard if you know how to really grow a channel. So I was thinking about making a channel where I'm just explaining basically what I am doing on YouTube, how am I making my titles, how am I making my thumbnails, how I even get the ideas for my videos that are appealing to over 100,000 people who watch that video. And the only thing that kept me from doing it until now was basically the time. I don't have the time to do another channel apart from ML guides right now, because as you can see, the uploads that are happening on the channel right now is basically 2 a month, basically. It will be a little bit more with the hero guides, because I have just a lot less work with that, because some of you guys are making the guides for me, and the only thing I have to do is actually the recording and the editing, which is pretty fast done. But it still takes a few hours to make each guide, and I don't just have a few hours every day where I could spend on making YouTube videos, because as I said, I have a full-time job, I have a family, I have a 7-year-old daughter, and my general life that is happening. So and you can imagine, after sitting all day on the computer for over 8 hours, there's also not the motivation every day to say like, okay, let's now sit another 4 hours in front of the computer and make a video. So yeah, I would love to do something else than just ML guide, but actually right now it's just the time that is keeping me from doing it. For that also I have the software what I'm talking about. I cannot speak anymore. I was talking about Time Bolt that would help me a lot if it works like I think it will work, by just cutting the videos, because obviously when I'm talking about how I'm doing my YouTube stuff, you know, how to grow a channel, I would only need to record it in front of a camera like I'm doing it right now, without the editing of gameplay, or like editing like when I'm doing a hero guide, for example, showing each skill, doing the editing of that and all of that stuff. That would be not required if I'm just talking about my YouTube stuff, you know? So, but yeah, again, it's the time. So yeah, that is pretty much it. That were all questions. To anyone who's still here, thank you very much that you stuck so long with me. I recorded over 1 hour. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I really hope you were sitting down, had a great time listening to my brabbling. Is that even a word, brabbling? There's a German word what sounds similar, so yeah, just like my talking, what I'm doing here right now. And basically I'm out of words now and my throat is pretty dry, so yeah, have a great day!